I'd start singing The Summer Wind. The Summer Wind by Frank Sinatra, but that's not what this is. This is the fall wind in the Pacific coast. And we just went back an hour on the time zone, which I do not like this. So timing is off. Everybody's going to be weird for the next week. It's going to get darker earlier, it seems. But on this beautiful Sunday morning, I'm going to talk about the forecast for November 2nd to November 9th. And we went into a moon in Aries this morning after a whatever Pisces moon that was last couple of days during Halloween. There's probably some of you out there went Halloween, your version of trick-or-treating, which was this trick or treating with a costume. People went crazy on a Friday night. They're just coming out of it. Pisces moon, who knows where it brought them? Who knows where they crashed up against the shore? And now the Aries moon must survive the next 2.5 days. But really here, today on the Sunday, while I make this video, Venus is squaring Jupiter. That talk about overindulgence. Jupiter magnifying the Venus and Libra way of being, which it wants to find harmony in everything that it does. Let's say it's doing it through its senses. Let's say it's doing it through an interesting costume in the last couple days while the veils were thin and they over imbibed. You know what I mean? Like they had to have just a little bit more, because with a Pisces moon, Venus and Libra, Halloween, you just had to escape, haven't you? I think the world's crazy. You just had to escape, put on your costume, become something else. Right? Some of you are coming out of that something else. Money gets spent. Jupiter square Venus, right? Relationship situations are, in a sense, emotionally can be blown up because of Jupiter in Cancer, and we have a Pisces moon. So the last couple days into this moment while I'm making this video, there is an overdoing of things. I wrote relational excess, the politics of relationships, all up on the table, made magnified, expanded upon. Emotional extravagance is what I wrote here. The aspect, 3:16 p.m. while I'm making this video. We get to the 4th, or we'll go to the 3rd actually, because tomorrow when I'm making this video at 7:59 p.m. Pacific, we have a Mars trine Neptune. Now, Mars is at the last degrees of Scorpio. With all this outwardness we seem to have had, in the background for weeks now, Mars has been plotting and focusing and obsessing about something and not letting anything get in its way. And after all the aspects it's made aspects to Jupiter, Saturn, do these Grand Water Trines that we're talking about. And here we are now with a trine to Neptune, and the edges and the sharpness and the focus of Mars and Scorpio takes a little bit of a break here with Neptune. And it is finally an oasis place. For those people who are scorpionic, who have Scorpio rising planets in Scorpio, when was the last time you were at the oasis, right? Last time where you felt like you didn't have to watch your back, or wondering why a certain person was talking to you, or what their agenda was behind it all, or the suspicions while you've been investigating. And it's been an important investigation because we had Mercury in Scorpio there for a while, and it's going to come back for the retrograde. There's a story happening here. We're going to take a couple steps back here through the month of November. Venus is going to come into your sign. The story's not done, but at least at this place, as Mars trines Neptune, Neptune gives its profound, idealistic, imaginatory influence on Mars and Scorpio. Make the oasis happen for you there on a Monday if you're watching this. I even if it's for the rest of the week, you Scorpios, while it's your birthdays, I hope things have been good. You know I love you. And you know what? I love you even when you're effing dark and messing around and manipulating stuff the way you shouldn't be doing it. If you're one of these people right now, I'm calling you out on it. I'm not going to walk away from you, though. But if I have to, I will. But I don't want to. You, especially Scorpionic people, book a session with me right now. We can go back the last couple of years. You made the journey. Here you are. You're doing it, aren't you? You're in the background doing your thing. And soon, it might be in a couple months, could be next week, you're going to announce it. You're going to show it to the world. And while Mercury goes retrograde here soon, it's in Sagittarius now, it's going to go back. You know, you're going to have your chances to finally put those things outwardly down the line, or to certain people that need to hear it, to the world that needs to hear the deepest and clearest of truth. But now, as Mars is about to leave Scorpio, You get the oasis place, the dream place, and you get to walk through the veil. Mercury's going to go past this place 2 more times here in the next month. So know what you're experiencing now is very important. Did I say very important? Yes, I did. So that happens the 3rd Monday, 7:59. We go into the 4th. Mars will leave Scorpio. Oh, God. Could it just be there another month? I'm one of these people with scorpionic transits. I'm never afraid, man. I love this stuff. I appreciate this stuff. There's so much you could do here, and especially in Scorpio, no one knows what you're doing. I made a post somewhere on Instagram a month and a half ago, whenever it was, talking about Mercury. When Mercury first entered Scorpio and was squared by Pluto, it was during a lunation last month. And I was telling some of you on the video, it's like an Aries full moon or whatever it was. And I was like, you want to say it, everybody's going to jump in and want to profess their stuff or start a ruckus or do whatever. And I said, if you can lay low, if you can just watch everybody and see how they're reacting and just do your plotting, do your investigation in the background. If you could just do this, you'll have the upper hand for yourself and how you stand in the world. And if you're on that chessboard, the upper hand with whatever you're competing against. Let's just be real, because the world is this way. The world, sometimes you have to do sword and shield. The Aries will outwardly do sword and shield. The Venus in Libra or Mars in Libra will play some passive aggressive games sometimes, or Venus in Libra will try to work the chessboard in the best way possible where it isn't caustic. But the Scorpionic way is to lay in the background and watch. And go deep in those other places people are afraid to go. And you will acquire information and power there. It's what you do with the information and power determines, how you're rolling, how balanced you are. Is it for the nastiness of it all? We don't want to do that. But is it for something else? Something for a type of evolution and growth for yourself or for those around you or for a situation that you're involved in. So Mercury here in Scorpio, being in Sagittarius, is going to come back and review all this stuff. Mars just did it. Okay, so again, this is a type of transit that for Scorpios, especially this month, and even into when Scorpio birthdays are done, when Mercury's hanging around there, you're going to get more than the opportunity to profess the truth. Wow, that was long-winded for that. But hey, at 5:01 a.m. on Tuesday the 4th, Mars leaves Scorpio and goes into Sagittarius, where it bursts out of a shell, out of the scorpionic shell, almost sheds it, and is just like eager. Catch any Sagittarius, you put them in the corner, they just can't deal with it. They're going to find a way out, and they're going to find a way to make it fun, adventurous, optimistic, eager, and it presses its higher focus, as I wrote here, exploring and inspired now Mars in Sagittarius. But it doesn't end there, because later in the day, and while I'm making this video, to be honest, and we get into Tuesday, Mars will be opposite Uranus in Gemini, and we have an explosive aspect here that could affect the politics of the week. The world politics of the week. A lot of times we're seeing Mars involved in political situations. Now, I think here we're in the Taurus moon at this moment of the forecast when we're talking. So when Mars is opposite Uranus at 0 degrees, it's not too long after that where the moon is going to go into Gemini. It will happen. It's kind of a couple days later, and I'll get to that, but I think it really gets set off later in the week, the Mars-Uranus opposition, when the moon hits 0 degrees Gemini. I'll get to that in a second. When we do this explosive aspect, for those who have anything mutable at 0 degrees, huge moment for you. It could be a catalyst. I think this week you're going to want to unleash yourself, but we deal with the unpredictable impulse of Mars, alternative actions, abruption, and breakthroughs, which leads us to the full moon in Taurus on the 5th, which has a massive Mars-Uranus signature on it, a Saturn trine Jupiter, and the ruler of the full moon is Venus in Libra, which I think balance is the Mars shock and awe with Uranus And Venus in Libra at the last degrees here is going to take note of things. The reason why I'm saying this, and I talked about this on my monthly forecast for my members, my Patreon members and my paid YouTube members. If you haven't noticed on my page, there's a members only video. It's a 2-hour-long monthly forecast I did for November, which I go deeper into all of this stuff. I think this is where we take note of things in the Taurus part of our chart. We look to 6 months ago where we had the new moon in Taurus, and we take note of what has been accomplished in the Taurus part of our chart in 6 months. We appreciate the value of it. We sit in the value of it. We don't just count our pennies and be all miserly. We actually like, hey, what is of worth and what is of value, and what has been created resource-wise since 6 months ago. And Venus in Libra rules the full moon in Taurus. And so here we can actually not only take note of things, but we can appreciate. And I think this is very important with anything Venus, where we come to appreciate things. And the way Venus in Libra does it is to like move through it, to use it. Let's say you planted something 6 months ago and it's harvesting right now. I don't know what the hell's harvested right now, some squash basically. And you taste it and enjoy it, and you share it amongst those that you care about. Taurus moon loves to do this stuff and be chill and sit in the comfortable couch or in the garden. Venus in Libra is going to add the aesthetics to the whole situation. And it's very Venus-y actually. We know Mars is opposite Uranus in the background. We know this. But we also know, also from the water sensitive point of view in this chart, that Saturn in Pisces, Jupiter in Cancer are having this ongoing trine connection, right? And there is a somewhat of a grounded feeling for this new moon, somewhat. The Mars and Uranus aspect is what throws it off. But for me, I don't think it gets thrown off until we get the moon in Gemini on the Thursday on the 6th, 7:20 a.m. because I think that triggers the Mars-Uranus opposition at 0 degrees. So maybe we get to have sort of a chill full moon. It depends on your chart. If you don't know your chart, by the way, you get a hold of me and I could tell you what that is. My information's in the copy. You make it this far, you could press the subscribe button and bring me closer to glory, okay? And speaking of me, a Taurus rising, I think about 6 months ago what's been happening to me, and I'm in a major place in my world, and I've seen some of the rewards here, and I'm celebrating it, but I'm doing it modestly like any Taurus person is. They're not going to be extravagant about the situation. It's not going to be that way. It's going to be chill. Like, oh, I'm going to maybe treat myself to this because I earned it to this point. And I'm telling some of you people to treat yourself. Doesn't mean that you're going to spend big money on something, even though we started the forecast with the Venus-Jupiter square where it's easy to do it like this week. But we want to find something simple to acknowledge what we've done and what we're worth, and the reflection of what we've created on the outside of ourselves is a reflection of the value of ourselves. We work hard, we get a paycheck. What do we do with the paycheck? We got to take care of the essentials. We pay rent, we pay bills. We might get something and purchase something that is reflective of our hard work, right, with it. And that little object, or with service, or you got to get your mani-pedi, you got to get a new windbreaker, I don't know, whatever it is, treat yourself to something good, even if it's a nice meal. For those in the Taurus people, even you Libras, got Venus in Libra, this is a good thing to do. Just watch the overspending. That's an interesting take on this the Taurus full moon, but hey, it's always comes down to basics there with Taurus stuff. It's really simple. It's like, is there more coin here or more bills here? And then is it balanced? And do I see my investments paying off the bills on this side? And if I do have a little extra, I could buy that little something. The 6th, Mars sextiles Pluto in the beginning of the Mars and Sagittarius transit that happens at 7:11 a.m. Pluto puts a little bit of influence there. It's a quick transit. The big one is on the 6th at 2:39 p.m. Now we have Mars going into a sign in Sagittarius in the week, but now Venus leaves Libra and enters in the seductive shell, the mysterious poem, the bonding ritual that is Venus and Scorpio. Any of you who've ever been around a Venus and Scorpio, you either know what you were in for and you learned, or you're in it right now and you're in for it and you can't get out. So basically, you signed this shit. You signed the contract, okay? And little did you know that the contract came in a seductive packaging with step-by-step luring you in to a one-on-one intimate dark space where the Venus and Scorpio is going to know every single thing about you. And it seems to be wanting to control you, but what they really want is the someone to match them and even overmatch them, even control them. You have to do your role playing. Please go for it. We just did a bunch of scorpionic role playing at Halloween. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of role playing going on there. But this is a different kind of playing around. It isn't playing around, basically. Venus enters Scorpio at 2:39 p.m. Seductive, intense, and powerful. And ushers us into more Grand Water Trine situations here for the month of November. Some of you who don't like Scorpio energy, you don't know how to deal with it. I think there's no way out of this. I think you appreciate it, and I think you make the commitment. The 100% all or nothing life and death commitment that Venus and Scorpio wants in the scorpionic part of your chart. And you commit and you go all the way. You will have you'll have Jupiter and Cancer on your side. You'll have Saturn and Pisces on your side. At the end, you're going to have Neptune on your side. And when Mercury goes back into Scorpio, keeps talking about this, there's going to be a meeting between Venus and Mercury, a type of conversation that is like no other. So, know what you're in for here. And now that you know this, commit to it 100%. To start off the transit, Venus will square Pluto on the 7th to start it off. Mars did this in Scorpio way back when in the beginning. Mercury did this. Every planet that went into Scorpio had to square Pluto off the bat to get tattooed by Pluto. And basically, we have a massive, not power struggle, but I wrote ultimatums and relational make or break types of things with relationships with Venus and Scorpio. Emotional manipulation, ? Bondings is what I wrote. And bondings is the word that I like, because I like bondings. I like when someone's able to risk and go there. And let's say do it under the guise and it's passionate, obsessive, and mysterious, and dark, and intimate. And I know every single thing about you. And you could show it to me, because I'm holding this space. And that dark, weird, kinky stuff that you don't say anything to anybody else. Me, Pluto, is like, I draw that out. It's a Persephone situation here. But maybe Venus in this situation enjoys this. But it still has to create its boundary. And Pluto has its way, it has its way. And it's almost too much. Can Venus and Scorpio handle the square right in the beginning of the transit? Of course they can. But is some blood spilled? Is there some scarring that happens? Totally does. Eventually, hopefully, it's not that hardcore of a situation. And you wear it with pride. What's the mantra of my life? It's on my Instagram profile. It's not on YouTube. You know what my mantra is? What is it? Honor, truth, loyalty, love. You want to know where that comes from? It's my scorpionic placements. It's the Pluto square my sun. I'm not joking about that stuff. If anybody knew me in my personal life and I let them get close, they know. There's those who think they were close, but they don't know. But when you know, and it's in the scorpionic realm and it's Plutonian involved, you'll know and you'll remember for the rest of your life. It's not a threat. The same day, on Friday the 7th, Uranus, which is currently retrograde at 0 degrees Gemini, will jump back in to Taurus at 29 degrees. And we are back now with Saturn going retrograde. It's going to station forward this week. Neptune's there, going backwards. Soon on the 11th, Jupiter will be. We're going to have a period of time. We're really going back into the past now, and some of the water parts of our chart, all the water parts of our chart basically, and the Taurus part of our chart. Tauruses have a big week this week because of the full moon, and when Uranus going back, you're going to have to look at the last 7 years of your life, Taurus people, in the Taurus part of your chart, and we're going to do the last so many months run. Next year, what did I write here? It's, no, I think I did somewhere else, but basically on April 25th of next year is when Uranus will go back into Gemini. So from basically now all the way to April, anybody with late degrees fixed or Tauruses, you have some things to clean up there. But at this point, after 7 years of having the abrupter planets, the unpredictable planet, the lightning planet, the thing that came here to just rock your world for the most stubborn of Tauruses, you've probably gotten used to this by now. And this is where you actually wield the lightning bolt of Uranus. There's some pieces that still need to be put off to the side and said goodbye to. So, again, any of you that have late degree fixed, you have Neptune helping you here with this, Saturn's helping you with this, and Uranus and the Earth signs helping you this. It's kind of a sextile aspect there. That's all I'm going to say to that. I might do a different video on that. I did make a Uranus in Gemini video months ago here that got a lot of views, and that subject matter goes to the wayside, and then that's going to pop in for chapter 2 in April next year. And now we're at the 8th. The moon goes into Cancer, sun trine the north node to push the eclipse story. Moon in Cancer, interestingly enough, trines Venus, and we get into the Sunday where moon trines the north node and Mercury at 6 degrees Sagittarius at 11:01 a.m. stations. It starts to go backwards to begin the wild month and all the way to December of a massive Mercury retrograde that will move all the way back into Scorpio and trigger the water parts of your chart, trigger the 29 degree Scorpionic placement, and will go all the way back to 20 degrees Scorpio. Very important. And when we get to next week on the 11th as a bonus, Jupiter will station retrograde at 25 degrees, while Saturn and Pisces at 25. We have a stationary Jupiter, and we will be swimming deep at this point in the emotional realms to clean up old past stories here. Some of them that have to do with earlier this year, some of them even farther than that, maybe the deepest, maybe 100 years in your family's chart, your ancestry chart, maybe your past, maybe it's your great grandma, some story, maybe you unearth some photos and you start looking at stuff in the Cancer part of your chart, and you're looking at the Pisces part of your chart, and these two planets are working off each other, and there's something else, there's something that needs to be felt there's something that needs to be experienced all the way through emotionally. There's a story going on here in the Cancer part of your chart. It will be retrograde all the way till next year when it goes all the way back to 15 Cancer. Side note, for those who watch my monthly forecasts, you know how important I spend a lot of time talking about this Jupiter transit and what happens this month at water degrees of 25 degrees Pisces, at Cancer 25 degrees. And the reason is because it's something huge that's going to happen next year at this degree space. For those who watch my monthly forecast, you know what I'm talking about. So get the snorkel, open up the fins, the gills and the fins, and go deep, my friends, emotionally. Experience it, process it, leave what you need to behind, and take the story that's worth carrying forward. All right? I'm on the run. If you made it this far, subscribe to the channel. I'm Sparkles of Gold, Nicolas Polymenakos. I do great with one-on-one readings. If you're thinking about it, it's the time to do this. My Patreon members and channel members know they get a discount code. I made it to the end of November. You have to go back into the archives. I'm really close to putting up a 3 questions video with another astrologer that I have in the archives this week. I am literally on the run. I'm going to be on different places, so my videos are going to have different backgrounds, and it won't be AI, it'll be real, because I am real, because I'm genuine, because it's the only way I know how to effing roll, and I'm rolling the dice that way, right? Right. I'll see you around on the path to glory, Is that it right there? Should I go walk that way? Or should I walk this way? Down that path? Which path do I go on to? If I go that way, that kind of goes dark and mysterious. I'm gonna go that way.